What's going on, guys? It's DigiWatch TCG coming to you with another build theory deck profile for EX-3. Now, today we're going to be looking at Examon. Examon is quite an interesting deck. It is a new deck that's coming out for EX-3, and it introduces a new mechanic called Evade, which is pretty interesting, and it's definitely a different way of playing a sort of blue-green mashup deck. A lot of these cards I will be talking about are more of build theory, and ratios can also vary, of course, as well. And I'll explain some of the choices I have as well based on our current meta. With that said, please like, subscribe, leave your thoughts below on what you'd like to see next, and let's get into it. So starting with our babies, our Digi Eggs, we are playing 4 copies of the Baby Digimon from EX-3. Now, what this card is when this Digimon has Dramon or Examon in its name and becomes unsuspended, it gets 1,000 additional DP for the turn. So if I'm reading this right, from what I understand, if your card is in a suspended position and unsuspends, since that's part of your turn, it will automatically start with 1,000 additional DP for the rest of the turn. Additionally, if this becomes unsuspended by another card effect on your opponent's turn, it'll still gain that increase. We are playing 4 of it, and we could play the 5th egg, or we could reverse the orders here of playing another Baby Dramon. And Baby Dramon is probably the best egg to play in this deck, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But the other one is if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, you draw 1. So you can run that as more of a draw engine if you need it, but I do think the DP matters in this set. And especially in this current format, so I think that this is a very important thing. And there's a lot of searching in this deck anyway, so it's not totally like, oh, I'm missing on a draw. So going into our rookie lineup, we are playing only 8 rookies. We have 4 Dracomon from Starter Deck 8 and 4 Dracomon from EX-3. Now the Dracomon from Starter Deck 8, which I think was the All Force Digimon deck, was reveal the top 3, add 1 card with Drummon in its name to your hand, the rest go to bottom. And then it's similar to this here with Dracomon being a dual color green and blue. Reveal the top 4 of your deck, add 1 blue or green card with Drummon in its name and 1 Examon among them to your hand, the rest go to bottom. So you definitely want to be considering maxing out on the Examons. Additionally, it does have a Digivolution cost of 1 over level 2 for some reason, but you can go over a Baby Dramon for 0. So this is why you're playing Baby Dramon as the egg. Also, it has an inherited of when one of your Digimon with Drummon or an Examon in its name becomes suspended, this Digimon gets 1,000 additional DP for the turn. So your opponent can attack. You can suspend for like a blocker effect or an evade effect, and then what that will actually occur is give your guy another 1,000 DP. So 7,000 DP is actually pretty relevant with some cards such as Crimson Blaze. So that is something to keep in mind. Going into I know we're playing only 8 for the rookies right now, but I'll explain why that's fine in just a moment. So going into our level 4s, we're starting off with our generic level 4, which is going to be your hybrid for game, Kumamon. Trash 1 card from the bottom of your opponent's Digimon. You all know Digivolving is Digivolving for 2 over a hybrid. Totally fine. I think that that's part of the reason I can run rookies a little less, is because if you go over a Tamer, you could bring this up, especially if somehow your opponent's able to rid one of your big boss monster on the field. And sometimes there is very easy ways to do that, especially with some of the other decks that do not delete, but they do stuff like yellow DP reduce, or they do stuff like Digivolve or removal like Chaos Degrade. So just having something like a backup like a Kumamon in hand is very, very relevant, I think, in the upcoming format. So that's what I'm doing here for the Kumamon. Going into our Corjamon. This is the new Corjamon. You can Digivolve for 3 from green or blue. 5 cost to play, 6,000 DP. You can Digivolve 2 over Dracomon, which again, why where we're playing the Dracomons at only as our rookie, because it makes it a little bit more consistent. What's really cool about this though is Evade says you can suspend this Digimon to avoid the deletion. It has inherited with the same exact thing. You have to just have Drummon or Examon in its name for evade to be triggered. And it does stop your opponent from doing stuff like that. So I do think that that is pretty good as far as a ability to save, or not save, I guess save is now the wrong word to use, but to prevent deletion of your Digimon. and definitely want to run this. If I could run it at 4, I would, but I don't really have enough space at the moment just because of some of the other cards I'm running. Going into our other level 4s, we have 3 copies of Corjamon. If it hits insecurity, comes out, draw 2. That's always good. Again, this is another reason why you don't necessarily need to play as many rookies, because you could just hard play your Corjamon if you have it in hand. Yes, you'd be giving your opponent 6 memory, but you do have, you can go up a little easier in your lineups. I might consider putting 1 or 2 more rookies in if I feel like Corjamon is not working, but I do think this is totally fine to have. Corjamon over here, the green version of it, can Digivolve again from blue or green, but 2 from Dracomon. And it has, again, double effect of blocker as an inherited and a regular effect of blocker. Going into our level 5 lineup, we have Wing Dramon and Ground Dramon. They're pretty much the same things as the level 4s. The green is a blocker. The blue is a evade. They can both Digivolve from Corjamons, which we are pretty much only playing Corjamons other than the Hakumamon. But you can use this for, it has the inherited of evade and blocker as well for anything you're going above. What's really interesting about this card and why this deck is really good is because these cards, the Corjamon and Ground Dramon, can be used as material for Examon, so you can kind of skip the level 6s and go right to the level 7, which is really good about this, and you can DNA at the end of your turn. So basically, if you count these as 4 and 4, that's 8, and then your regular lineup for your 6s, which we'll get into in just a moment, Slayer Dramon and Break Dramon. Those are almost like if you're running a full playset, 16 cards that can get you into your Examon, and that is your boss Digimon that you do want as soon as possible. We do have Slayer Dramon here. I'll open up Slayer Dramon. I actually haven't opened up these ones to show you a little bit in depth, but this one I definitely will. So you could Digivolve from 3 from Wing Dramon or Ground Dramon, so all your level 5s. Once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, unsuspend this Digimon. So if it blocks, basically you can unsuspend it, be a blocker again. Same thing with Evade. If you suspend it, it becomes active again. And then start your main phase by suspending one of your Digimon with Dramon or Examon in this name. Your opponent must attack with one of their Digimon. So they have to attack one of their Digimon. It forces your opponent to attack, and that's very important for our playstyle with this deck. So I am maxing out on him, but I am only playing 3 Break Dramon because this is one you kind of want in hand or separately in field. You don't want to really Digivolve on top of this if you could help it. I could Digivolve from 3 from Ground Dramon or Wing Dramon, 4 and 4 from green or blue. All turns, once per turn, when one of your Digimon becomes suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. That's pretty cool because, again, Slayer Dramon or your blockers, your evades, all have the ability to suspend themselves. So you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon if your opponent tries to get rid of one of your guys or attack security, and you can kind of block with that. Also, when one of your Digimon with Dramon or Examon is named deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle once per turn, and survives, trash 1 card from the top of your opponent's security stack. And then it has the same exact effect that just is like it's inherited. So you can see where this is going. You have a effect to redirect attack, basically, or force your opponent to attack at the beginning of their main phase. And then you can suspend. If it has blocker, you can suspend it. They're forced to attack, so you could block it with Slayer Dramon, you could block it with Corjamon or Ground Dramon, and then you can unsuspend and gain effects, and of course trash the top card. And trashing, as we know, is probably the most interesting mechanic out of the entire deck. Now, you may be looking here and saying, okay, now there's a few things I'm a little confused on what's going on. Well, that's fine. I'm going to talk about it in a second. We're playing 4 copies of Examon. Examon here is your boss, your win condition. When Digivolving, you can place 1 green or blue Digimon from your hand to the bottom of this of the sources here. And then when DNA Digivolving, you can play 1 green or blue Digimon with Dramon in its name with 12,000 DP or less from your hand without paying the memory cost. So that's really good because you do want kind of like the play is like to put something else underneath Examon, and then you hard play, or you are able to play out the Break Dramon, and now you have a Break Dramon in play and you have the Examon in play, and it's very hard to beat, honestly. You then have let's say, where was the other thing here? Oh yeah, when this Digimon is suspended, unsuspended, and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So again, like kind of the same idea that if your opponent attacks and you are able to block, it comes unsuspended. Then you can choose another one of their Digimon, suspend their Digimon. So that's kind of how it works. It's kind of like saying like, okay, I'm forcing you to attack, and then blocking your attack, and then pushing you back to trash one of your cards to your security stack. I think it's a pretty cool card in general. We are playing one Death X though because some boards can go wide. I was actually watching, I don't remember where it was, but I was watching like a match against Hydramon, which is going to be a very powerful deck in this EX-3 format. And they had such a wide board of all their level 3s and everything. And I figured, why not just play Death X, at least one copy in it, for that matchup so that you don't die to them. You can literally have, delete everything on their field. You can make them start from scratch, and it makes their deck a lot harder to run. So Death X is definitely a consideration in this deck. Yes, it is not searchable by anything, but if you hard draw it, or if you're able to play this out and kind of stun your opponent, it makes it that much harder for your opponent to get rid of the cards here. And I think there is going to be a little bit. Some people will play wide boards, which makes this very easy and pretty much free to get out. Going into our option lineup, though, we are playing one Ice Wall because Ice Wall is just that good. We're playing two Hammer Spark, although I have another choice in here if Hammer Spark does not work. Gain one memory on the declaration of attack. I'm tired. Hammer Spark is gain one memory or gain two in security. So that just helps you with some of the plays. But again, I might change some things up. We are playing two Mega Deaths here because you do need a little bit of defense in here. It is a security bomb. You could play other cards. Grand Soul, I've seen some people play instead because you do play a lot of cards that are suspended, and it could reduce its own cost. But I do think that Megadeth is a better choice because it's very easy to get a blue and a green on the field at the same time. Hidden Potential, because Hidden Potential, you play it, you suspend all your Digimon for free. There are ways of unsuspending your Digimon in this deck as well, so I do think it's definitely worth it trying it out at one. Davis, because you could get a blue and a green, that's why we're playing it. We could max this out at 4, but I'm still again, this is more of a build theory right now. I am playing Davis and Ken because again, you have a blue or a green, you're going to gain extra memory from that, and if you do Digivolve normally into Examon, you could probably unsuspend this right here. You could throw in other cards too, like the what's it called, the Izzy, really any tamers that lets you gain additional memory, or you could throw in the Davis. But I am going 2-2 split right now. Again, it might change in the future. Now, officially, that is the end of the deck. Now, these are going to be some choices, some things I'm going to talk about, and we'll talk about it now. So Vmon, all right. So Vmon, why consider Vmon? Well, Vmon has the ability of when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain one memory. So what you can kind of do with this is, because you do so much abilities of suspending, unsuspending, Vmon will give you that extra memory gain, which is somewhat needed in this deck. I do think that it is pretty good to try out. And again, you can do stuff like cut the Death X. You could do stuff like cutting one of the hybrids if you'd like, and just playing this instead. It totally would work, I think, as well. Going into our other cards here, we are doing the Modoki Betamon because I think that the worst matchup for this, in my opinion, is the Hydromon matchup, just for the ability that they can suspend your card and sort of stop your combo. It kind of messes up the routine of the combo. So I think Modoki being on the field, and really for your opponent having no way of getting over it unless they suspend it and attack over it, is good. So you can stop your opponent from doing that. It works against also Jesmon decks that play out cards to gain memory on the Sistermons and stuff like that. So that could be a choice too. You have Baby Digimon here. This is the other one I was talking about. When attacking, if you have if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, draw 1. Again, that's just a 5th egg, or you could reverse the order and have this 4 of. And then lastly, instead of the ice walls and stuff, you can try one of the memory boosts, either the blue or the green. I don't think it really necessarily matters too much, but I do think the blue one is probably a little bit better, just because blue, there's more blue targets in my opinion than green. You have the Dracomon, which is considered blue and green. The Dracomon is blue, the Kuma is blue, the Cortramon is blue. You get the idea. There's a lot more blue than green. So you could try the blue memory boost. Green memory boost can, of course, be another choice if that's what you want to try. You get only the Cortramon, the Groundramon, the Breakdramon, the Examon, and the Dracomon, but you can't get the other three Digimon on the top here with that effect. Also, with Madoki or Vmon, you wouldn't be able to get those as well. So that with that said, again, this is a rough draft of a deck. I am trying some cards. I am hoping that it's going to work out nice. But I'm really excited for this deck. This is probably my most anticipated deck of the format. After my own personal Imperial deck, which I'm really excited for. That should be out by this point on YouTube, so definitely check that one out. So thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful and gave you guys some ideas. Examon looks to be a really exciting deck to play, this new format with a new mechanic up until BT11. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, guys.